So, hello and welcome to our next episode of the Online Entrepreneur Academy podcast. And we're recording this towards the end of January. And it is my huge pleasure to welcome Mark Newsome to the podcast today, an expert in marketing, a gentleman I've known for quite some time. So, I'm really looking forward to handing over to him to share lots of secrets and tell us, all about marketing. And before I say any more, Mark, over to you. Would you introduce yourself to our audience of entrepreneurs, please?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, Susan, let me say that I am equally impressed with you, and this is my honor and pleasure to be on your show. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mark Newsome. I go by the moniker of Mr. Marketing, but the fact of the matter is, what Susan and I are going to share with you today, I hope you'll understand that, Susan, marketing, I like to say it like this. If you say 8 plus 2, and
Uh-huh.
I say, pardon me, 7 plus 3, and the next expert says 6 plus 4. Mathematically, ladies and gentlemen, that's all 10, and we're only using addition. That's how powerful marketing is. The next person may say 40 divided by 4. It'll get you to the same place. So we want you to open up that gray matter and see the endless possibilities of what's possible for you, not tomorrow, not next week, right now.
Wow, Mark, that makes it so exciting, and what a great point to start off with. So, a lot of our audience work for themselves, and they may have dabbled in Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads, and there's nothing wrong with those. But there are other ways, aren't there? So, could you share a
Absolutely.
little bit? Let's think of that solopreneur working away, perhaps in their bedroom, in their studio. They've got products to sell. Tell us how they can reach more people.
Well, as Susan knows, ladies and gentlemen, here's a couple of simple things. Now, I deal with a lot of offline people, but online, this stuff works. It's just, again, 7 plus 3, 6 plus 4. So here's the first thing I would suggest you do. If you're just starting out, let's say you don't have a portfolio, you don't have a Susan or myself to give you testimonial yet. Here's what you do. You got to first figure out, I want you to go to Google and Google total lifetime customer value. In other words, you got to know before you spend a nickel on promoting, marketing, advertising, whatever you want to call it, you got to know what is this customer worth to you. People, example, let's say my ideal customer is worth $1,500 over 3 years. I got no business spending $2,000 on pay-per-click ads, do I? You're going to be upside down. You're going to go broke. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to be out of business. So once you find out what your customer is worth, here's what I want you to do: offer a free drawing. Now stop and think about it. Who's going to enter a free drawing? Your ideal prospect. People who have no interest in what you offer, you and I offer, they're not going to bother. The men and women who subscribe, if you're using email, and I hope you are, subscribe. If you're offline, you can do the old punch bowl where they put your business cards in there. And then here's something else I want you to do, just what Susan and I are doing: collaborate.
Hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't be an island. You and I can't know it all. We can't do it all. We don't have enough credit. We don't have enough money. We don't have enough experience. We don't have enough knowledge. Collaborate with non-directly competing vendors. For example, let's say now Susan is brilliant with the digital marketing side of things. Look, she's got this podcast. Now, I could go ahead and try and build a podcast audience. She's already done it. So
Hmm.
why don't I try to get on her audience, get on her show, pardon me, and leverage what she's doing in a positive way? Now, when I say we're not there to be mooches, what we're doing is we're non-directly competing. So I'm getting in front of an audience she's steadily building, so that
Hmm.
I don't have to do that part. All I got to do is show up and hopefully deliver, pardon me, value for her audience, and it's a win-win for us. So you find some non-directly competing vendors, and here's the two things I want you to do. Number one, offer your product or service as a secondary gift to Susan's primary gift. For instance, I have a special report that I'm going to try to convince, I'm going to twist Susan's arm and try to convince her to show me how to turn this into a money-making PDF. But I could say to Susan, Susan, I have this special report for entrepreneurs. It's called The 10 Most Common Marketing Mistakes Small Business Owners Make and How to Correct Them. And Susan says, oh, Mark, that would be awesome. I have this high-end product, and I'll offer your thing as a limited time bonus when they sign up for my thing. You follow what I'm saying here, ladies and gentlemen? So you do your own drawing, and you offer one of your low-end, high-value products or services as a secondary bonus gift to other non-competing entrepreneurs.
Mark, that just sounds so sensible, so creative and easy to do. What a brilliant idea. And I think sometimes, you know me, and I go for keep it simple. That's my mantra, keep it simple. And this is the epitome of keeping it simple,
Right.
collaboration. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
In
then,
fact,
sorry, go
go
on
ahead. I'm sorry.
after you.
I just have Susan. I know you've shared this. I know I've shared it. But ladies and gentlemen, I'd be remiss if I do not tell you this. Susan and I are both on LinkedIn. Susan, what other social media platforms are you on currently?
I do a little bit on Facebook groups and I dabble a bit in Instagram, but LinkedIn and Facebook groups are my Facebook page, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please hear me here. Unless your last name is Zuckerberg or Hoffman, who used to own LinkedIn, you and I don't own those platforms. We're
Exactly.
glorified tenants. And Susan, I like to explain it like this. It's like sleeping on your ex-in-law's couch.
Love that.
One day they may come home and say, I love you, but you got to go. You could get your plug pulled at any moment on social media. So the best thing you can do is leverage social media like Susan and I do, meaning get the people, once you establish rapport now, get the people off the platform onto your own opt-in email list. And if anybody tells you email is dead, go in the other direction, ladies and gentlemen,
We don't
because
agree.
it's the only asset you own. Now, we can leverage the audience on social media, but if you're 100% on social media, your Titanic is headed for an iceberg, my friend.
Very true. And so many people don't realize this, or and they're only, as we know, sadly, when they're either banned for some weird reason, can't get in touch with the platform, or the platform changes, as we know with one very well-known platform, we won't mention, it changes, it changes, the people using it change. So yeah, I love that when you said you're a tenant. I think that's the word you used. Yeah, we own nothing. We're there by their grace, and it can change in an instant.
And let's say Susan is the new CMO from Harvard, and she decides to go in another direction. Well, they changed, like she said, they changed the rules, and suddenly I don't want to date myself here, Susan, but I was on an old 1.0 social media site, and one of my expert coaches, Becky, kept telling me, Mark, you need your own WordPress, self-hosted WordPress blog. And I didn't want to learn WordPress, Susan, so I fought it and fought it and fought it. And one day I got an email that said I had violated some term and condition. What are you talking about? I've just been writing blog posts. Boom,
Boom,
they
gone.
shut it down. So I
Yeah.
learned my lesson. And I said, you know what? Unfortunately, I'm going to have to learn this WordPress stuff. So I have a WordPress blog, and excuse me, I've had it ever since. And
Mm,
something else, excuse me, Susan, I got to share this with you.
please
Ladies and
do.
gentlemen, I want you to think of this. Please stop or do not treat your business like a one night stand. What the heck is this guy talking about, Susan? Here's what I mean. You spend all this time, money, and effort to get a first time customer. Congratulations. And then what do? You drop them like it's hot and you go chasing the next retail customer. That's how you go broke because Susan will tell you it's 500. What is Susan? What's the number? Like 500 to 700% more expensive to
Yeah.
get a first time customer than guess what? To get an actual customer, current customer, to spend a little more over time, more
Abs-
consistently. That's where you make the money. In fact, you go from 80% expenses and you flip it 20% profit to 80% profit, 20% cost. And if you do the stuff she and I are talking about with the collaborations, that 20% goes down, which means your profit goes up. And I hope this makes sense, ladies and gentlemen. I like to say it like this. When you reverse that dynamic of 80% profit and 20% cost, you can do the same amount of business as you did last year, but you're going to be way more profitable because
Yes.
you've decreased your costs.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that out because I've got a list of questions here and I've underlined existing customers because it's such a shame, as you're saying, Mark, when people don't realize they're existing customers. They know you, they like you, they trust you, they've already expressed an interest in your product or service, And we come back to the email, don't we? Sort of constant value, constant, regular,
Absolutely.
not doesn't have to be every day, but regular contact. So tell us more about how that, because people have heard me say this so many times. So I'm looking for a fresh view and a fresh insight. So tell me how people nurture their existing customers. What would you advise?
Oh my goodness, Susan, let me just tell you what, if you haven't figured out, I'm like a big storyteller. Okay. So she's opened Pandora's box when she asked me to talk about it.
I love
But
that.
think
I'm going
about,
to sit back and drink my coffee while you tell our
I,
audience.
no, no, I've seen this, and Susan, I know you've seen it. There's a big giant box retailer who's all over the world. I'm sure he's where they're where you are. They had a grand opening. And Susan, the day before at 2, 3 in the morning, people were already lined up to get into this thing, right?
Amazing.
Now, first of all, let me just share something with you, ladies. If I were the manager and had the authority, here's what I would have done. All those people out there, I would have gone out, introduced myself, and said, "Pizza's on us," meaning the store. We're going to order pizza, cheese, we're not too expensive, but cheese, pepperoni, blah, blah, blah. And we would have called ahead and made a deal with a local non-franchise pizzeria, give them a ton of business, say, at this time, I want you to bring out, I don't know, 100 pizzas, whatever it was, because think about what would happen.
Yeah.
Mostly young people now, they were out there, some were throwing frisbees, it was cold, and they were out there doing all this stuff. Now, all of a sudden, pizza shows up. You know these people are going to pull out their phones and they're going to be all over social media.
Absolutely.
Hello, right? And so rather than waste money on an out, in fact, ladies and gentlemen, Susan, I got to finish this, but just got to share this with you. Ladies and gentlemen, in the time you're going to invest in this, listening to Susan and I's episode here and her past excellent episodes,
Thank
do
you.
you not realize in your local community, somebody's running an outrageously expensive television or radio ad, and you and
Yeah.
I didn't hear it? That money still came out of your budget.
Mm.
So to finish my thought here, Susan, here's what I would do. I saw this crowd out there, right? I'm saying if I was the big box store a manager, I would have got authorization to do this ahead of time, anticipating the crowd. But here's what I would do as an entrepreneur. This is it. She said, how do you nurture customers? Let me show you how you take a one-time sale and turn it into a perpetual gold mine. If I sold coffee, I'd rent one of those little portable trucks or lease somebody's truck for 2 days. I would have driven up there. I would have offered everybody there, for as much coffee as I had, Susan, a free what I call a big go, big plastic cup, the biggest one I got,
Mm.
and tell them this. I own Mark's coffee shop 2 blocks away. This big gulp normally retails for $11.99. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a concept now. Don't get hung up on the numbers.
Yeah.
It retails for $11.99. However, when you bring this cup back with you from now on, it's only $3.99. Now, where do you think they're going to come, Susan?
Absolutely.
Right? Now, you're going to make your money on what Susan and I refer to as back end. What does that mean, Mark? The additional sales. But here's what's really powerful about a strategy like this. When they go to their job or if they own their own business and they got that cup, what do you think their inner circle is going to want to know?
Where they got it,
Where
how
did
they
you get
got it.
that? How much did it cost? And Susan says, "Oh, we were at the grand opening. This guy showed up, Mark's Coffee, and he had gourmet coffee in this big giant cup. It cost $11.99. He gave it to us free. And he said, from now on, when we bring the cup, we only pay $3.99. We're going to pick up some additional business." Now, here's what I would also do. I would create a birthday club. Ladies, not the year you were born, but the month and the day. You put your name in a card, and every month we're going to pull out a male and a female winner. And what do they get? They can come into the store and buy any 3 products at cost. Now,
Mm.
what is that going to do? It's going to create a flood of word of mouth. That
Yes.
I call it this, Susan, word of mouth and mouse. We're in the social media age, ladies and gentlemen. Learn to proactively utilize social media. Now, so let's say Susan's is cleaners. You say, okay, Mark, I kind of see your thing with the bakery. How would this work if I'm a cleaners or a printer? Same thing.
Mm.
You have a free drawing, and your extremely time sensitive second get grand prize is they could buy bring in X amount of shirts or pants or blouses or skirts and get a set lower rate because you're not trying to sell something one time.
No.
You're trying to create a tidal wave of additional sales. And I hope, Susan, I get so excited, but I hope I explained that the way I'm trying to explain it.
No, absolutely. And I've written down your word is it excitement. It creates excitement and interest, and it's so, to your point, it's so easy to do compared to all these huge advertising marketing campaigns, which of course have their place, but
Absolutely. Absolutely.
follow up, you're talking about the follow up or the add-on or the extra. It's really exciting and already on this episode we have so many ideas. So don't stop there, keep going. So tell us, you, as you say, you're Mr. Marketing. You've helped some very big names, haven't you? Made it make a huge.
Absolutely. And people like you have helped me. Ladies and gentlemen, this collaboration thing, some people call it joint ventures, strategic
Yeah.
alliance. There's so much of this in your local neighborhood. It's mind blowing. In fact, Susan, let me just share this one simple idea.
Yeah,
Ladies and
please.
gentlemen, follow this. I just saw this. I mentioned this on LinkedIn, but since I'm on this fabulous podcast, I have to share this. Susan, I'm watching. I don't know if we should say the name. I'm watching one of the big time streaming services, and they had a
Right.
movie on it. And this guy, he was a serial killer. And I don't mean to get morbid, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm just trying to set the scene for you. And this guy had set off a pipe bomb in the this mall. So this female detective, one of the stars of the movie, she was slowly walking through the mall, obsessing all the carnage. And as she was walking, like how look, you can see me directly. Let's say you're looking at me from the side view. There in big giant letters was this major established retail jeweler's name. Apparently, they had I was going to say booth, not a booth, but a space in the mall.
Right, got you.
Clearly, they had paid big money to do this, ladies and gentlemen. Do not be fooled. Here's my point.
Makes sense.
If I'm the retail jeweler, I'm not wasting my. Now, granted, you're going to get a million eyeballs that see that for a split second. Now, how many of those people that see that, A, are your prime prospects? B, can really afford your bling? I
Mm,
do this instead. I would find every female podcaster that I could, like Susan, and I would offer Susan a $10,000 necklace at my actual hard cost. And the only condition I ask is when she goes on her podcast, she wears it. Now, what do you think is going to happen when she's got her hair back so people can see this big, giant, beautiful diamond studded necklace and her earrings? She's going to get some DM saying, "Girl, where did you get that?" You better
absolutely.
believe it. And then I tell Susan, Susan, for every person that you refer me to, I'll give you a 25% credit toward future bling. So Susan realizes, hey, the
Mm,
more I promote this guy, the more discounted bling I'm going to get. Here's the other thing I would do. I'd go to the top hair salons in my area. I would offer, first of all, hey, let's say Susan is one of my employees. She's my VP of marketing and sales. I would send Susan, first of all, over there to get the most expensive thing that they sell, to get rapport with the owner.
mhm.
Or Susan's gonna be rocking her $10,000 necklace, her earrings,
I like
pardon me.
this.
And the lady that owns the salon is gonna say, I love your necklace. And Susan's gonna say, you know what? My boss, actually, I'm gonna be honest with you, sent me in here. He'd like to know if you'd like to get some diamond studded earrings. And she shows a picture on her phone. He says, oh, those are beautiful. And my boss says, would you like to get these at his actual hard cost? And of course, I said, yeah, what do I need to do? And she says, here's all you need to do. So she pulls out some cards. She got 500 cards. And she says, and by the way, any of your stylists who want in on this can have in on this too. And they're like, what?
Mm,
You put your name, the stylist, on the back, you print. And the card just says, dear friend, because you're a valued customer of such and such's salon,
mm,
please come to Mark's Jeweler, wherever I'm located. And you can say, now get this, ladies. You can say, and this is a concept now. Don't get caught up on what I'm actually saying. Get the concept down. You can save 10% up to $200. That's not very exciting or sexy, no. However, simply for dragging a friend who's at least 18, you save up to 40% on up to $3,000 or X to X, right? So in other
yes.
words, what we're trying to do is ethically bribe you to bring somebody to my store so I don't have to pay as much for advertising, right? But here's the point. Here's what I tell Susan and her crew, the hair salon. Every time one of these cards with your name on it gets redeemed, I'm going to give you $50 a week.
Mm-hmm.
After you bring me your 10th, 11th customer, in other words, everything over 10, it doubles to $100.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're making money doing hair, and you're also making money to pass out my cards. You follow me, ladies and gentlemen? Now, we're going to take this way, way further. Get this, Susan. I tell Susan, every month that you, meaning she's the owner of the salon, and if she's got multiple salons, even better, but let's just say she has one, every month you send me at least 20 customers, I will pay the lease on your
Mm-hmm.
commercial space. What? Because remember, I'm not trying to sell jewelry one time.
No.
I'm trying to sell a ton of jewelry to your referrals. I want your testimonials. I want the whole shebang. And
Yeah.
I tell Susan's crew, same deal. I'm going to give you $50 on the first 10, the 11th selling on, you get 100. But here's the deal. Whoever has the most of her stylists for that week, I pay your booth rental for the week.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're wondering, well, Mark, where's this money coming from? Remember all that money I was wasting on TV and radio? I'm not wasting it.
Product placement, yeah.
I'm going to incentivize them to promote for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to tell Susan to have a free contest where I'm sorry, free drawing, and every month she's going to give away $500 worth of services. In other words, I want the people coming into her store to join her list because you know what
Mm-hmm.
Susan's going to do on the back end? She's going to send them a extremely time sensitive gift certificate to my store. You
Mm-hmm.
see what I'm saying? So it makes sense for me to fund this entire thing for her because it's pennies on the dollar. Susan, I hope I explained that right because
Yeah,
I'm
you
so
did.
excited. I mean,
No, it's
I,
brilliant. And as you say, you're a good storyteller, but it's the concept. The concept is brilliant and very easy to start off small. And just for our British listeners, drawing, I think, is raffle. We say raffle, like a prize.
ah, okay. Now let me ask you something, Susan. See, in America, when we say raffle, you normally spend money. Now, in
Yes,
your raffle, you don't have to spend money.
it you can, or it might you might spend money or might not. And I'm sure someone's going to add in the comments and disagree with me. But
Okay.
drawing, I was thinking of a drawing first. I love language, how it changes and
Okay.
so,
Right. Exactly. In
but
fact, ladies and gentlemen, she brought up an interesting point. Let's say you're a retail furniture concern, right? No, I'm sorry. Let me use it. No, we can use a retail furniture concern.
okay.
Here's what you could do. You could offer a raffle on a $10,000 master bedroom set that you're about to put on closeout anyway.
Oh, on
Now,
sale.
follow this.
Mm.
For $2,000, a one-time entry into the raffle, you could win a $10,000 master bedroom set. Okay, I'd say that's pretty good. Simply for joining our email list, you can enter that same raffle and it only costs you $500. Now,
Mm.
what would you rather do?
Really?
Spend $2,000 or 500? Well, if you'll get on my list, I'll ethically bribe you and wipe off $1,500.
Mm.
Now, get this. They only need X amount of people to, let's say the hard cost is $5,000, right? It's we're offering 10, but the hard cost is five. They only need 10 entrants at $500 and they broke even
Yeah.
on the bedroom set. They're going to do a lot more than that. And then what they say is to take it another level or two. Everything, no, excuse me, 50% of over our hard costs, we're going to go live on Facebook, spin a wheel, and whatever charity it lands on, that's who we're going to give that overage to. Now, in order for the charity to get it, guess what they have to do? Offer up our extremely time sensitive gift certificates to everybody who supports the charity. Ladies and
Mm.
gentlemen, do you not see how Susan and I could go on like this for like 8 hours doing
Yeah.
this? It's just not that difficult. And of course, if you need professional help, I hope you know at least one person or two people, I should say, you can reach out to.
Yeah, and please do remember that you'll be able to find out how to easily contact Mark in the show notes. And so whether you're watching this on YouTube or listening to the podcast, do check it out. And of course, must remind people to look at your LinkedIn because you've got so much information there aside from your blog and all the other places. So a lot of ideas already. And I always come back. I was in a during COVID, we were in a group and we were often talking to tradespeople, so skilled, plumbers, electricians. But I've always said, and I want to get Mark's input on this, um, when you in the UK anyway, when we need a plumber or electrician, we used to look in something called the Yellow Pages, a book, but now we look on,
Right.
yeah, and we find a stranger, and it may be good, maybe bad, but we get a good, let's say we get a good person, they fix the problem, they leave. I never ever hear from them again. And I've said to them, please give me a card, send me an email, give me a fridge magnet because I'm going to need you again. And in 2 years' time, I won't remember where you came from. So obviously lots of ideas that could be used already for the tradespeople, but what in specifically for that group of very skilled people who are always in demand, and yet there's some ones around who are not very good, and we want to find the good ones. So how do they keep in contact when they've visited?
I think you just answered it, Susan. But ladies and gentlemen, let me just do a little spin off on what she said. I want you to picture this scenario. Susan's ordered cable. I'm the cable person. I represent the cable company. I show up. I'm very professional. I install her cable, or I could be installing a computer in her home, same concept. And it's now time for her to pony up and use her credit card or pay cash or whatever. And I pull out the paperwork, and she's very satisfied. And she signs everything off, and I leave. That sounds pretty normal, right?
Mhm.
Wrong,
Absolutely.
ladies. I mean, she's right. I'm saying wrong way to do it. I
Yeah,
say to
exactly.
Susan, some wording along, oh, miss, by the way, I'm just going to character, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, with your order today, no matter what she ordered, you understand? You've qualified for an extremely time sensitive special offer that's only available, unfortunately, until I leave.
Hmm.
Now, everybody's not going to take you up on that. But, ladies and gentlemen, there is a powerful 6 word phrase that an iconic fast food restaurant has made tens of billions of dollars every year extra simply by saying, no matter what you and I order, they say, would you like fries and a Coke with that?
We all know who that
That's
is.
called an upsell, right? So, I mean, we
The
call that
upsell,
something
yes.
long upsell, add on sale, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. Here's the point that simple 6 word phrase gets an additional people 30, 10 to 40% all over the world daily, ladies and gentlemen, to spend a little more money. They
Yeah.
didn't have to go on television, run a radio ad. You're already at this person's house. You provided an awesome service. If you don't have a, excuse me, extremely time sensitive offer, it's only good until I leave today. Boom. Shame on you.
Mm.
Shame on you. That's the equivalent. I like to say it like this, Susan. I'm a waiter in a high-end restaurant, and people leave the tip on the table, and I don't even bother to take the tip. It's ludicrous. Who would do that? That's what you're doing. And another thing, let's say Susan has a mail order division to our company. Let's say Susan has high upscale purses and scarves that she sends out. Well, I pony up to her because I offer designer perfumes. And I say,
Mm.
Susan, let me put this insert. It's market tested. That means I've already tried it. I know which headline and the BS and the offer works the best. Just let me put this in your outgoing order.
Yeah.
And any business that I get, you get 25 or X percent. Now, so here's what Susan's thinking. Wow, that 25 or X percent could pay for my postage,
Yeah.
which means everything I get from my customer over time is pure profit.
Yeah.
Ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen, if you can't slice and dice that and see how much potential is in there, shame on you. So the point is, in fact, Susan, let me go back to the hair salon. And I hope I answered your question, but if I
You
didn't, I'll go
did.
back.
Thank you.
Let me go back to the hair salon because I want to show you how powerful marketing is. Remember, Susan has this hair salon. She's doing upscale hair, and she's got 5 stylists in herself, 6 people. I sell women's fragrances. First thing I send one of my reps in there. And let's say I'm right next door conveniently in a little strip mall. So Susan and I know each other. You know, we cops, hey, Susan, how you doing? Hey, Mark, how's it going? Blah, blah. So we talk. I come in one day and I say, Susan, I got this new fragrance. I love your opinion on it. So
Mm.
Susan dabs it. Oh my goodness, Mark, I love this. I give her a free 32-ounce fragrance. I say, on one condition though, Susan. When I come in with my new fragrance of the month, I just like to dab it in the air.
Mm.
But when her new customers come in and sit in her chair and her stylist and their Oh my goodness, Susan, what is that fragrance? Oh, you know the guy next door, Mark? He sells that stuff. By the way, and Susan goes, pulls out a little card that I've given. You take this card. I have to put a date on it. You have 72 hours. It's 72 hours from the day she signs it, no matter if it's a holiday or whatever coming up. She says, as long as you take this card with you, if you go by yourself, you only save 10%. Girl, you drag a friend, you can save 40% off
Mm.
his high-end fragrances only because you're one of my customers or one of my stylist's customers. Do you not know I am going to create an army of what I like to call walking, talking billboards?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to take it a step further. Susan, now remember, I have to know what my total lifetime customer value is. So you go there to
Yeah.
Google and you watch a YouTube video or two, you get that concept down. Here's what I'm going to do for Susan and all her stylists. First of all, I say, Susan, how long have you been in business? She tells me. I say, what date did you start your business? She tells me that date. That's the anniversary of her business. I call up the bake. First, I call Susan. I say, Susan, the cake is on me. What do you guys, what kind of cake do you guys want? Susan tells me what she likes. I have the bakery send it over their special order. Now, when her customers come in and everybody's chomping down on this cake, and they go, "Oh my God, Susan, who gave you this cake?" And she says, "You know, the jeweler guy next door, Mark. That's what he does. As a matter of fact, every one of my stylists on their birthday, he does the same thing. On
Mm.
Susan's actual birthday, I'm going to send a bouquet of flowers, a
Mm.
box of chocolate, and Susan, can I share with them the magic, I'm sorry, the secret weapon? Follow this, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first time. I won't do this every year, but this is what I'm going to do the first time I do this with Susan. I'm going to go buy a 7-foot lady killer. What are you talking about, Mark? A giant teddy bear. Susan's going to pick it out. And I'm going to say, Susan, all I ask you to do is just leave it in the corner in your shop. Now, what do you think those other ladies are going to eventually get around to asking?
What's
Girl,
that?
what did you get this teddy bear? And she's going to say,
Yeah.
oh, you know, the jewelry guy next door, Mark, he bought it. What? Girl, you have to go check him out. This is where I got my bling.
Mm.
What? They're going to tell a friend. I'm going to hook every customer Susan brings me up. So when they go back to their professional and inner circle,
Yeah.
they're going to be rocking my bling, not my competitors. Ladies and gentlemen, do you not see how powerful this kind of stuff is?
Oh,
You
really?
can rings around your competitors and they'll be wondering, how are you doing this? Because they think you're spending a fortune on outrageously expensive, wasteful primetime radio, television, and all that other stuff. You don't need to do that. But let me get back to, maybe I got a little bit far off this thing about the plumbers and the profession. You always have some kind of way for
Mm.
your customers to keep in contact you and make that next purchase
Yes.
or refer somebody. If
Yeah.
you'll do that, ladies and gentlemen, you're never, ever, 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 ever going to hurt for business again. In fact, Susan, think about this.
Go for it,
The
Mark.
commercial buildings in your area, in my area, and again, I'm going, ladies and gentlemen, harping on the jeweler. If it's not obvious, I'm looking for some jeweler clients. I apologize. Follow this. Let's say Susan is a leasing agent for upscale commercial building.
Right.
I'm going to hook her up with some of my best bling calls. In fact, she says being a business, I'm going to let her have it for free. But here's what I tell her. I say, Susan, all you got to do is give me a deposit of what the actual hard cost is. Now, in the case of a $10,000 diamond studded necklace, let's say the hard cost is five. I can
Right.
tell her, you give me $1,000 down, X amount a month, and until you pay off that balance, no interest, and the necklace is yours. Now, Susan's thinking, okay. When
Mm.
she goes to show one of these high scale condos or apartments, if they're women, I don't know about men, but if they're women, I guarantee at some point the conversation is going to turn to, I love your necklace or I love your earrings. And Susan's going to reach in her, let me give you the card of the person I use. You got this many days to go there. He has a free drawing every month. One male, one female wins either a $5,000 Rolex for the men or choosing whatever the women's, a nice watch is for the women. The women are going to win two guaranteed winners every month. Ladies and gentlemen, do you not see? And if you're not picking up on the fact of why you need email, you got to, and oh, Susan, can we share with them? Ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to have a website,
No,
a traditional to use opt-in email. You can create something. Just Google what is a lead capture page. Somebody like Susan or myself can build you a state-of-the-art lead capture page.
Yeah.
and you can start using email. Now, the only thing I would suggest, like I use Aweber, and I hope that's not too crass. That's who I use. I don't
Yeah,
know
no,
what you use.
Aweber is good. I've used it.
There's something better. Now, don't get me wrong, but here's what I was going to say. When you use their lead capture page, it's going to say aweber.com, question, blah, 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 blah. Don't do that. You go
No.
buy a cheap domain name, susansjewelry.com, and then you simply redirect and forward it. So when they type in Susan's whatever it is.com, it redirects to Aweber's lead capture page.
Yeah,
And that way you look more professional. So if that's
absolutely.
too techy, don't worry about it. You can reach out to me and I'll walk you through it. But my point being, don't get hung up on, oh, I don't have a website. You don't need one.
There
What you
are no
need,
problems. There are only solutions, aren't there?
hey, oh, I love that. Oh, I'm gonna emulate that. So it's creative emulation. But yes, absolutely. There's
Yeah.
so much opportunity out here, ladies and gentlemen. It would just be remiss. And there was something else I was supposed to tell you. Let's see, I had four things written down that I definitely want to share. Don't treat your business like a one night stand.
Love
Be
that.
careful. Don't be victimized by social media. How to turn a one-time sale into a repeat sale. Oh, and
So,
this thing about like we were just talking about the professionals. Here's the other thing. Oh, if you're a CPA or somebody,
CPA?
financial planner,
Okay, right,
go
right.
find yourself a group, a real estate investment club, a newsletter, and offer. They probably already have it covered, ladies, but you offer to become the in-house resident. What do you mean? They're expert. So in other words, you write a column like around tax time. Right now, you should be sharing your tax saving secrets and insider secrets about what people can do to save money. If you're a financial planner, you tell people how to avoid probate and this kind of stuff, estate planner, I'm sorry, this kind of stuff. The point is, you want to, just like what I'm doing, this is what we call our hors d'oeuvre, Susan, right? You
Absolutely.
share what you have on a small scale, and the people get to sample it, and they say, oh my goodness, this is really good.
Yeah,
I
it's
love this. Yeah.
they know their
And
stuff.
some of them are going to want to go forward. In fact, I like to think of it like this, Susan. You're walking down a hill. If somebody comes up behind you, a steep hill now, right? You're walking down a hill. If they don't have to shove you, just tap you, you're going to automatically go forward. That's the type of offers you want to make. If somebody just bought something, they're as hot as they're going to be. That's
Yes.
why McDonald's says, would you like fries with that? They don't wait till you leave and then call you when you get home and say, oh, Susan, this is guy at McDonald's. Listen, would you like fries with that? It's too late. You got to get them where they're hot. And while they're moving forward, or some people like say leaning forward, that's the best time, the most opportune time. So take advantage of mail order. If so, look around, somebody else is doing mail order, you're not, offer up your product and service to them. Now, I'm going to share one other thing. So this is like super sophisticated. And I don't mean that like super sophisticated, like you can't do it, like 99.9% will not do something like this. I, who don't have a product that's related to Susan, can be the bridge to somebody who does, introduce them to Susan, and then put my thing on the
Mm.
back end of their thing. I hope that's not too complicated, but that's
No, that makes
another,
huge
right?
sense.
Just another form. What I'm trying to say, 7 plus 3, 8 plus 2, 12 minus 2, it'll get you to the same place ultimately. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have a rocking podcast like Susan and you're looking for guests, it's business related, I'd love to be a guest.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Mark, what you're sharing now is incredible, and I love the basic simplicity of it. Is just, oh, people think I hadn't thought of that, but it's very doable. As you said, it's not complicated, it's not over sophisticated, to use the word you used in the last example, and it's something that people can do and just look around to their neighbor in the high street or someone doing something similar. And I think we should confess that this podcast is going to produce lots of content for us, isn't it? So we're going to be able to, so don't do things a million different times. Repurpose is the word, isn't it, in the industry?
Absolutely.
Repurpose.
Absolutely.
I mean, I
I
know,
hope your audience got value because I tried to come on here and drop it like it's hot, Susan.
oh, you have indeed. And again, folks, remember, look below and you'll see how to contact Mark because he is a genius at what he does, as I know you can see. And it's collaboration. I've learned a lot this afternoon. I've been reminded of things and I'm
Likewise.
thinking, why am I not doing that now? I've forgotten all about that. So
The
thank
basics,
the basics,
the
yeah,
fundamentals,
absolutely.
as we like to
The
call them.
fundamentals.
Absolutely. and it's all over the place. Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
this is just a tip of the iceberg. You'll come up, I guarantee you listen to this 2 or 3 times, you come up with ideas you never thought of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the idea of well, I won't start to summarize now because people can listen with notes, they can look at the text, everything. Mark, at the end of my podcast, I always ask my guests, and thank you so much for coming on today and adding so much value
My pleasure.
for our
Thank you
audience.
for inviting me.
But I always ask three questions, a little bit of fun, just to
Okay.
change the tempo. So we have a program in the UK, just to give you the background. It's a radio program. So you have to imagine you're on a desert island and
Mm.
you've got fish in the sea and a few berries on the tree. So if you're on the desert island, what one piece of music would you like to have with you?
Oh my goodness.
You can only have one piece.
I'm a big jazz guy. So
Okay. So jazz is the field. Let's narrow it down.
okay, my goodness. I don't know what more to say. I can think of artists, but I mean they're all jazz artists. I don't know how to
We'll go with an artist. Give us your favorite artist.
Boney James. He's a horn player named Boney James. I love that guy.
Right. Okay, we're going to put that in notes. Now, you probably get where this is going. Three questions. A book. You've got the faith books of your choice, and you've got Shakespeare, whether you want to read Shakespeare or not. So, what other book would you take with you?
Oh, as a man thinketh, so is he. Robert Allen. Or James Allen. Sorry.
Okay, as a man thinketh, you said, yeah?
As a man thinketh. In other words, what's going on up there?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. And the final thing is one luxury, which you can interpret any way you like, but no boats allowed. I've had people choose boats before, with the exception of boats. One luxury.
Oh, if I could choose any luxury that I want, what would I
Choose
want?
anything that you consider a luxury, but not a boat.
Okay, not a boat, a luxury. What would I? Oh my goodness!
I just had some clever people
I
say a
tell you
boat.
what,
Let's stop
I'd
playing the
like
game.
I'd like unlimited access
Uh-huh.
to the most brilliant marketing minds on the planet, a library, and I'd be
Wow.
content.
Fair enough. That's brilliant. Mark, thank you so much for joining us today. And once again, all the contact points will be in the show notes or under the YouTube version. We really appreciate it. And Mark, I'd like to say, could we circle back and maybe talk again in, 6 to 12 months' time and add to.
Anytime you want me, I'm on the planet, Susan. I'm at your disposal, my dear.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed.